Yeah, that's a little live on YouTube. Waiting on Twitch. Seeing if Twitch connects. There's Twitch done and connecting. Let's do our intro. Alright, if you like what I'm doing, please consider me. If you like what I'm doing. Alright, so the next one. Alright, so we just got done hearing Brian, who just talked about how, yes, Ultiverse Classic is not going away. It's going to be kept around, so yes. Alright, chat room. So the next one is the NFT Ultiverse called Charles and Aldo Mike. This is the Ultiverse.io group. Just everything else. They have their own Discord. Just everything else. But yes, we just got a bunch of questions answered by Brian. Just everything else. As you heard, yes, Brian is not getting rid of the Classic and Red Light Center. They're going to be kept around. Just everything else. But the next group that's about to come on is the Ultiverse IO group, who operates in the Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, that and all. So in a couple of minutes, we're going to be getting information from them about their group, that and all, and what they're about and what they're doing in the Ultiverse group. So yes, all right. Oh, and real quick, yeah, this is the other group that did everything else. This didn't also. In fact, I will post this link in.
Hey everybody.
So there's that.
Welcome to our panel, NFTs in the universe, or in the otherverse, I apologize.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are at in this world.
There we go, there's Charles Monroe. Let me give you a brief intro to Charles. Charles is our head of NFT integration, and he's going to give us a little talk about how you can make NFTs work for you.
Yeah, thank you. Happy to be here. Excuse me. I've been in the gaming space for quite some time. I've worked with Brian and the team at Otherverse since 2009. Me and my partners initially made a game called Bonetown at bonetown.com. And that's how we kind of connected with Otherverse and Red Light Center. Stoked to be here. My background since then has really gotten into virtual economies, virtual economics, and virtual currencies in game. And I've always loved how Rays operate and the way that Otherverse has integrated their virtual economies and allowed empowerment for their users. One thing I talk about a lot is exploitation versus empowerment. And I just love that Red Light Center and Otherverse has really always been about that democracy. So we're extremely excited to be working on Red Light Center Mate and upcoming new versions of the games. So yeah, I want to talk. Brian and Kendrick asked me today to talk a little bit about what NFTs are, how we see them, how they benefit the community, how we're integrating them, what functional NFTs are, and the future of, I wouldn't say necessarily only cryptocurrency, but digital assets. So we call it digital asset management. And I feel the Red Light Center and Otherverse community is really perfect for that, because the community is very familiar with this model. I feel like they've adopted it way before cryptocurrency adopted it. And so it's like a marriage in heaven, or hell, or whichever one you prefer, or no. I don't know why I used heaven and hell, but I feel like this is a great fit for this community, and I think we're very early, and we're at the very beginning of this all. So it's great to be here with everybody and have the community involved, and to be able to do this with you, with the community. I think I have a lot of questions about what it is. I have a lot of questions about how it moves forward. I have a lot of questions, but I've also been in the space for a little while. So, I feel like I know a lot, but I'm always learning. And I'm just really stoked that how early it is, and that we're adopting this technology, and that we get to move forward and have a community that I feel is a perfect fit for it moving forward. So that's pretty much what we're going to I'm going to be talking about today. I've asked Mike to be here to kind of ask some questions and help me clarify and stay on track. So
I'm here to hold his hand. So go gentle on Charles here. All right, it's clear that crypto and NFTs are a reality. They're here to stay. But it's also clear that we have a really vibrant creator economy. A group of people that are really going to be able to be first movers and really take advantage of these technologies. Let's just take it back. Let's begin at the beginning. Can you just give us an introduction into what NFTs are, and how the Otherverse is applying the functionality to the NFTs and using them in our space and throughout the broader potential meta space?
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll be doing a Q&A after this, so if anyone has questions, please just write them down or send them to Kendrick. He's going to field our questions for us. You can put them in the chat or private message him. I know there will be a lot of questions. Like I said, still have a lot of questions about the space. So I'm going to do my best. It is not the simplest. There are simple parts about it, and there's not simple parts about it. So I'm going to try to be as simple as I can. And I will definitely answer all questions at the end. So from a basic introduction standpoint, we look at I think it's important to identify that there's three different standards of what we call tokens. So if we're talking about EVM compatible, which is Ethereum virtual machines, which started the smart contract revolution, which really started the NFT evolution and revolution. We can talk about fungible tokens, non-fungible tokens, and semi-fungible tokens. And these are three different standards. And so simply put, a fungible token is like the United States dollar. You can trade $1 for another dollar, and they're interchangeable with themselves. And so that makes them fungible. Non-fungible tokens, I like to say, are like art. They're one of one. They are not interchangeable with each other. There's subjective value, and there can only be one. And then semi-fungible tokens are what I like to say similar to like a print or an edition of something. So they can be editioned out. So there can be one piece and then an edition of them. So a creator could make a t-shirt for a character and have 1,000 t-shirts, or they could, and that would be a semi-fungible token. Or they could make a non-fungible token and make one t-shirt, and that t-shirt will be the only one in existence. And so the beauty of of kind of what I believe in NFTs is the ability to make it interoperable across platforms and to track and authenticate the ownership of it across platforms. So if I'm a creator and I create something and I mint it on a blockchain, it's a public ledger. So no one can say that I am not the creator. It starts with me as the creator. And then I can track that for as long as electricity exists. It doesn't matter where I created it. It doesn't matter how I created it. It doesn't matter if where I created it goes out of business. I still own it and I am still the creator. So in 1,000 years from now, if electricity still exists and the business that I made the NFT with goes out of business, I still own that content, or my family, my heirs still own that content. And if in the smart contract we wrote royalties into that, my family can still be making money. And so I feel like if we would have had this when Picasso was alive, you know, the Picasso family would still be making revenue and not in court fighting, you know, these massive museums over who owns what royalties. And so to me, moving forward, this is really creator centric and built for the creator. I like, you know, it started with games, right? Because traditional artists have museums and galleries, and they have the ability to showcase their artwork, and they have some, whether we agree with it or not, they have some marketplace to sell their work. Where digital artists, and I like to use Capcom and Street Fighter as an example, do not have never had that ability. So the people who created the characters in Street Fighter, E Honda, Ken, Ryu, all the great characters that I grew up playing in video games, I have no way to know who the artist is, and I have no way to engage that artist, and I have no way to give money to that artist if I want, or support that artist if I want. So this is a great way to track that. So it's like, if the creator of the character was the one who was putting it on the blockchain, not Capcom, they could have made money, and they could have owned the credit. I call it credit where credit is due forever in history. And I could engage with them to this day. But instead, they were exploited by a company like Capcom. And instead of being empowered, they were exploited, and all the monetary benefit goes to Capcom and not to the creator, not to the artist. And that's one reason that I've always really loved Brian and Otherverse, is because he truly believes in giving the creator that, empowering the creator. And I think, you know, since Otherverse has been doing this, you know, Kendrick and I have had many conversations about like ownership. And so, you know, that ability to have a platform where you can create something that goes into a world that is, for lack, I would call it tangible, not real world physical tangible, but tangible within a game, you know, is really what we're doing, what NFTs have been doing. But it's just a little bit bigger than Otherverse, because it's not only inside of Otherverse, it's across the blockchain. And so to boil that down, you know, we as a society have grown up with the internet. And once Google, Facebook, Instagram kind of took over and said they are the internet, they got rid of the democracy of what we've truly believed in the mid to late 90s of visionaries of the internet. And they said, you know, it became very vertical. You upload all your content to their platforms, and under their terms and conditions, they have a license to it forever. And so, you know, the thing that really gets me hype on NFTs is that it's horizontal, it's not vertical. You're not uploading your data to one company's database, and then that company is responsible for how it monetizes or whether they give you a cut or not. You upload it to the blockchain, or not your content to the blockchain. The content can actually live wherever you want. We use a company called IPFS. If anyone wants to research it, it's immutable media hosting. So you upload it, it can never go away. as long as there's electricity. So, and then we create NFTs out of it, which are just ledgers on a public ledger that allows anyone to read that ledger. So we can verify the creator, we can verify the owner when it's transferred, purchased, sold, however that looks, and it can go across platforms. So I call it horizontal versus vertical. So if I have an NFT and I have it on a marketplace such as OpenSea, and I don't like how OpenSea is treating me as a creator, I can say to OpenSea, hey, I don't want it on your platform anymore, and boom, now they don't have access to it. Now I can go to the next platform. And so really now platforms have to be accountable to us as the creators versus us being at the whims of their terms and conditions, right? Like I did a TED talk a while back where if I read the TEDx agreement that I signed to be there speaking, and none of my talk was my intellectual property anymore. It was now TED's intellectual property. If you've been on Facebook, if you've been on Instagram, your intellectual property is yours, but they have a license to do to it in perpetuity. And their language says, in any now known or hereafter developed technology. So, if they develop a technology in 100 years where they can clone you, they can use that, your data and your media that you've created, and exploit it, and they don't owe you anything. And that's universal. So they can do it on Mars. It's not worldwide, it's universal. And so, it's really, to me, this is the first time in history where we're making the correction of exploitation and exploitation versus empowerment. And this is a beginning. We don't know. I don't know. I have the vision of where it's going to end up, but I'm just so stoked to be involved and actually excited that we have this chance now, that it's not only on private databases, that it is public ledger, that I get to own my own content, that we get to own our own content, that we get to work together to own our own content, and we get credit where credit's due, and that it can be transferred to my children's 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 children, your children's children. It can go on forever. And something that's very special that we didn't have before is royalties. If I sell something to Mike and then Mike sells it to Kendrick, I can get a cut because it's written to a smart contract that I get a cut if Mike sells it to Kendrick, and then Kendrick sells it to somebody else, and then they sell it to somebody else. I can always make sure that I'm getting the cut as the creator of the content. So it's just like, this is so exciting to me, and I think, it's one of the things I was excited about when I found Utherverse. It's like Brian really believes in that democratization and decentralization. And now this is just another tool to add to the repertoire of what Brian's vision has always been of really democratization and decentralization. And again, like I said, this is brand new. This is 12-year-old technology, 14-year-old at best. So we get to be a part of it for the rest of our lives, and we get to be a part of the beginning. And so I just think that the RLC and the Utherverse community is such a perfect opportunity for this, as a lot of the creators and content generators have already been doing this in this capacity with this way of thinking, and being able to add another tool to their tool belt is just so exciting to me.
That's amazing. I've had a lot of had the opportunity to have a number of very high level talks with Charles, and every single time, I get a chance to listen to him. There's something new and something that makes this thing a lot more clear. and honestly, Charles is somebody who, in my opinion, has a very good grasp and is a good mentor for, all of us, in this space. Um, moving on to just some other stuff. There's a lot of new words that have really sort of popped up in the last, 8, 10, 12 months. I'd like to see if you could help us kind of put everything together. I mean, you did do a great job of getting us started on smart contracts. How does all this stuff kind of fit together? Web3, metaverse, smart contracts, blockchain, cryptocurrency. Can you just kind of dumb these down for us and just see how these all feed together? And
Sure, absolutely. Web3 is really just a new way to say how to connect to a website. Instead of me giving my data to the website provider, I am literally just using a wallet address versus me having to give them my location, my data, my email address, create a username. I think that, to really get an understanding of it, if you create a MetaMask wallet or some Ethereum compatible wallet and go to OpenSea.io and connect to that website, you'll see you can log in anonymously, and they have no way to get you. They have no way to really take advantage of you. And so to me, that's what Web3 is. And not to me, that's what Web3 is. It's a way to build decentralized applications. That's why you hear DApp instead of app, and DApp means decentralized application. And so it really is just a way for us to be more in control of our data. It's cool because it doesn't rely upon privacy policies and terms and conditions, because I'm not giving them any of my information to have a privacy policy. The terms and conditions can't exploit me because I have not given them them the ability to exploit me. So simply, it's Web3 is a new way, and I really just, in my mind, it really makes sense. It's horizontal across the internet as opposed to vertical on website to website basis. It eliminates security risks, right? Every time you share your email with a new website, you're creating a place for security breach. Same with credit card information or any information that you're sharing. And so Web3 just enables us to be more secure and to browse the internet in a more anonymous and secure way. Blockchains, different blockchains function differently. But for the most part, they are just a way for people to see a ledger and verify that a ledger, transactions on a ledger publicly. So I like to say I wish Chase was a blockchain, because Chase has been proven that they've been funding both sides of every war for the last 100 years or so. So if publicly we could see that, it would make them accountable. So essentially, blockchains are just a way, and this is very simple. Like, blockchains are a lot more than this, and they all function differently. But simply put, they're just a public ledger where we can authenticate, the public can authenticate every transaction that's ever happened on it. Metaverse, I think this community gets what a metaverse is. It's a cute metaverse. To me, is just some bullshit keyword. It is otherverse, right? It is all these technologies that humans have believed in since the late 90s, but all culminating together to now actually become a thing. Live webcam, 3D virtual experiences, virtual worlds, microtransactions, digital assets, live webcam, all these things, they've all been in their own lane for a very long time. Cryptocurrency, NFTs, these have all been in their own lane, and they've all been a part of the bigger vision for a very long time from visionaries, social media. And so now the metaverse, we feel is, or I feel, and I like to describe it as all these things culminating in one space, right? So like, and blockchain and Web3 and NFTs and cryptocurrency, they all are now, in my opinion, the nail in the coffin. You know, we've been having to use Visa, MasterCard, internal currencies. You know, PlayStation's a great example. They have their own currency. Steam is a great example. They have their own virtual economy. And so I feel crypto and blockchain technology is the nail in the coffin to bring everything together, because now we can truly have it be ours as opposed to whoever chooses to capitalize on it the best. We're not at the whims of these people anymore. We're at the whims of our own imagination and however we choose to engage versus the Illuminati. I like that in the chat box. Sorry. So you know, it we're at the very beginning, you know, and so and then cryptocurrency. You know, cryptocurrency is very simple. And I think that this community really gets it. Raise is like a very good way to put it. You know, over, I think since 2004 or 5, maybe a little earlier, like this has been something that a lot of people, not we all, but a lot of people have seen coming. You know, it's like inside of Utherverse there is Raise, but how does it come out of Utherverse, right? And so cryptocurrency is literally just a simple way to make it engage with the economy as opposed to a micro economy or a closed economy. You know, in payment processing, there's terms like closed looped and open looped systems. I would say Raise is a closed loop system and cryptocurrency is an open loop system. Yeah, like Ready Player One is a great example. You know, it's scary in a lot of ways, but I honestly don't think it's as scary as what we've already done with Facebook, Verizon. You know, like it is Ready Player One, but you know, why we can say it's Ready Player One as a community now is because we actually see the tools and can use them ourselves, where Facebook, Verizon, any IPSP, in ISP, sorry, any of these major corporations, they've already been Ready Player Oneing us since the early 2000s, Google, all of them. And it's been very transparent, Ready Player One for them. And now it's Ready Player One for the creator. Now, we might lose this war. You know, it is very possible. Like, you know, Peter Sunday is one of my heroes. He created the Pirate Bay. I mean, he went to prison for this, right?
Yeah.
For not breaking the law. And he gave up in 2015. You know, in 2015, he said, we have lost. And he stepped down from working on this type of technology. After Prism was dropped, you know, Apple was the last major corporation to implement Prism. For those who don't know, Prism was the technology that Edward Snowden whistle blew. So, you know, the age of surveillance capitalism. And, you know, I feel crypto is a way, crypto, blockchains, Web3, NFTs, smart contracts, these are all things that combat that, right? So they are built for us, not for not for large corporations to exploit us. So who knows? I mean, I'm an optimist. I'm not a pessimist. So I feel that we can actually take it back. You know, but it is discouraging when someone like Peter Sunday says we've lost and he's given up. You know, you know, and he's a great example, right? Like he was called a terrible human. And he was said he was breaking the law, but he was just anti-capitalist. He was going against. You know, he was just fighting Universal. You know, he was fighting for the person making the movie, not the publisher of the movie, right? And so, you know, I'm not fighting against people who create. We're trying to enable creators. We're fighting against the publishers right now. And the publishers have become social media, you know, Google, Facebook, anywhere you post. I mean, we've devalued photographers. You know, like photography is worth nothing now because of Instagram. So I guess the last, I kind of went off on a tangent, but I guess the last thing I would want to define is smart contracts. And I think a lot of people, you know, they think of smart contracts as more than what they actually are. But they literally are just a contract that's smart. So for example, I can write in a 10% royalty into a contract that says every time this sells on a blockchain for the future of history, for the future of electricity, I get 10%. That is a smart contract. But you can also write anything you want into that smart contract. You can write after 10 days, it changes to red as opposed to blue. After 100 days, it burns itself. After 100 days, it comes back to me as the original contract creator. It's a blank slate of how you want to write a smart contract. So literally, smart contracts are literally just contracts that are smart, that have automate, that a programmer can write, or you can select out of, like, not a programmer, you can select, hey, I want it to be this way. And then it goes into that contract, and then it automates back to that. So for example, if you set a 10% royalty, it is automated that if I'm the creator and I put my wallet address in there, that every time it sells, that wallet address gets 10% of the sale if I say there's a 10% royalty.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, there's such a bigger play here, for all of us to make generational wealth here and to really build in, being first movers, first creators for a lot of this stuff that's going to publish across
generational wealth, but also true ownership of your own identity, right? Like, I think the problem here is that we have been so loosey-goosey with our own identity on the internet that we are now trained that we shouldn't own anything. It's like we're trained that a photograph isn't worth anything, that you don't own it, that your like button isn't yours. We're sheep now, and I get it. But at the same time, like, once we solve the identity problem of this is mine and I created it, whether that is a text, whether that is a video, whatever it is, as long as there is electricity being transacted, that is creation to me, right? If I'm reading something, I am spending my time reading it. So, and someone else is analyzing me reading it, and they are monetizing that. So, it's like, where's my cut? Like, where the fuck is my cut? I deserve, if you're monetizing me, then I deserve a cut, or I at least, at minimum, get to say, you're not allowed to monetize it.
Right.
And so identity, I think, is really the big part that we're trying to figure out at this point.
I love it. Awesome. All right, so we're at 30 minutes. You want to do a couple more questions, or do you want to open up the floor to anybody who's got questions for you at this point? We covered a lot at this point. I love it.
Yeah, Kendrick, are there any specific questions that people have that you think? As we get the questions in,
I got more. We can keep going.
So someone was wondering about age verification on Web3. It's very similar to the same. You can KYC. There are different people working on different solutions right now. A cool thing that Ethereum just announced is what's it called, Mike?
Soulbound token, SBT.
SBT, Soulbound token. So it's a way for you to have a token that is non-transferable. And so, I guess one of the things I haven't really talked about is accessibility. So if you don't own a token, I can, know your customer or know your client is KYCs. One of the things that is really cool about NFTs beyond just content is accessibility. So if I have an adult product and I only want 18 years and older, you have to have a token to even access it. It could be a white page for anyone who does not own that token. And so in order to get that token, you have to age verify. And so accessibility is such a big part of this. Age gating, content gating, you can use it as tickets for an event. You can use it as to show ownership of something. So like, for example, with functional NFTs, Brian mentioned those in Utherverse earlier, it's like, if you own this jacket, there's no way to fake that. And so that jacket could give you particle effects. It could give you dance moves, and only you will have that. And there's no, if you don't own it, then you're never going to have those things. So it's, you're actually being verified. So yeah, I mean, I think there's, as far as age verification goes, like it's not much different from before, but now we can actually make sure that it's more secure. Going back to the identity question, you can identify yourself as how old you are and then never have to identify again, which to me is really, really
because you'll have a
brilliant.
token. Is that correct?
Correct. And anyone can check it. They're not checking your actual information. They're just checking to see whether you're 18 or not, or 21, or however age verified you want to be.
And that'll happen when you connect your Meta wallet. Is that correct?
Correct.
So it'll just kind of be done in the background once you have that token that gives you the age verification.
Exactly.
I mean, that kind of opens it up a little bit as well to, sort of the true functionality of the NFTs. I mean, what's out there in the news in the world right now is stupid pictures of monkeys and, silly cartoons and whatnot. And that's what people are really selling as NFTs. Do you want to dive in a little bit deeper on what a truly functional NFT is, or what the utility really can be for these things? I mean, let's talk about the future of this.
And Simone, I'll get to your question here, but I think addressing what Mike just said first will give you a little clarity, and then I'll actually address your specific question. Mike, I love that you say, these dumb apes. Just a little bit of backstory. If we look at Pong, for example, gaming continues to go back in. It's circular, right? Like every decade or two, we go back to the beginning because new technology is introduced, and that's where we have to start. So, like, for example, Pong was a simple math game, and on Atari. And then we get into, Halo, and then we get into, as we progress in the console generation, we get bigger and bigger, better and better. And then, Facebook games drop in early 2000s, and we have to go back to Farmville, right? Facebook didn't start with social games that were full 3D immersive worlds, first-person shooters, because they couldn't. They were adding lots and lots of people playing the same game together socially, and then we had to do again with the iPhone, right? And so, you know, when the iPhone dropped, it didn't drop with these huge 3D virtual games, because it couldn't handle that yet. And so I think, you know, now we're moving into the stage of, you know, what blockchain gaming looks like, what NFT games look like, and so we're there again. And so Bored Apes, CryptoPunks, all the things we've seen successful are just the beginning, right? And so it's simple. We have to start somewhere. And so, you know, and if we look at what's successful in social is profile pictures. Everybody wants a profile picture. So, you know, it was a great place to start. Doesn't mean that's, you know, in my opinion, why would I buy a profile picture for $200,000? That's ludicrous. But I think the people who are buying it really have bought into the idea that this is the beginning of something, right? And it will grow and it will become bigger and bigger. And so they bought into an idea that this is the future, not just I'm going to buy myself a profile picture. Now, some people did. Steph Curry, you know, the people who can afford it, and it's a you know, status symbol. Absolutely, they bought into a JPEG. But I think why the value was there in the first place is because it is the beginning. You know, like Mark Andreessen said about Bitcoin, he's like, I honestly don't care how much it's valued at. I want as much of it as I can get because it was the first truly finite tradable asset by humans in history. You know, gold is speculatively finite. Any stock is speculatively finite. They can, you know, split stocks, and it's controlled. Where Bitcoin, there will only be at 21 million. Mark Andreessen said, if it's worth $1, I want as many as I can get. If it's worth $1 million, I want as many as I can get. So, because it was first, right? It was the very beginning. And so I think the same thing with Ethereum. And Ethereum was the first ones to introduce smart contracts, which enables us to create NFTs and smart contracts. I mean, the first NFTs were actually on Bitcoin. They were rare Pepes in 2013 that were tickets to a conference. So, you know, owning the beginning of something is very, you know, collectible to a lot of people. To me, it's just the beginning. And so to get to the FNFT and functional NFT questions, you know, the beauty of this all is like, I can take a race car from Forza, race it, and then drive it to the club in Utherverse later that night. We're not there yet, but I think that's the beauty of where we're interoperability and being able to verify that this car has won this many races and it's worth this much value on a public ledger versus just Forza you having to trust Forza saying that this person has actually raced this many races and won this many races. Where if that was written on the blockchain with that asset, I would encourage everyone to check out zed.run. Zrun. It's a horse racing game, and all the analytics of that horse in the races go onto the horse on the blockchain. So you can verify that that horse has done this many races, this many wins, and this many losses. And so to me, that's historic, right? And they've done the best way. But now, like with functional NFTs, like in Otherverse, it's like, you know, I mean, there's so many applications, like how many people have worn this shirt, how many people have done this with their avatars, how many dance contests, you know, all this can be verifiable on a blockchain if we want, you know, I mean, it doesn't have to be, but if we want to build that trust with each other that's publicly verifiable, then we can. I'm going to move on to Simone's specific question.
Yeah, please.
She said, I am a business owner in Red Light Center, running among others a marketplace, supply, demand of RLC, and possible real businesses, hopefully in the future. now how your presentation on NFTs blockchains practically can be used by my business marketplace. So I think there's quite a few different ways. So as far as like, if you throw an event, who has access to that event? That can all be done through a blockchain. If you want to sell your goods, those can all be done on a blockchain, and they can track every single sale. So it can say, this has sold this many times. Here are all the owners. You can connect with all the owners. Owners can connect with each other. And you can see all the royalties, and you can see the value on a public open market. Because as soon as you mint an NFT, let's say inside of Utherverse, and if Utherverse has standards that are accessible to OpenSea, then OpenSea is going to pick that NFT up, and now it's on OpenSea. Now it's on NFTrade. It's on marketplaces across the internet. And so if those analytics are built into your products and into your services, people can see them across the board. And so for your businesses in Otherverse, now people will be able to verify that even if they're not a user, and they'll be able to trade and buy and sell your products from Otherverse on an open market across the internet. And so I think it's extremely valuable, practically valuable to your business and your marketplace. I hope that answers your question. I can get a lot deeper if you'd like, but I think so yeah, that's kind of how it works. There's definitely a lot more. So yeah, I mean, I'm super excited about the future of all of this. It's so early, right? Like, we're just stoked that we get to be here at the beginning. You guys want to link to my TED Talk? I don't know about that. No, I'm just joking. Let me find it. And, I feel I was wrong on a few things, but this was 2015. And so it was very early to be talking about all this stuff. I don't think my solutions are very applicable anymore. I talked somewhat about affiliate marketing, but I think the point of it is, and my name is Max in the real world. I just use Charles Monroe on the internet. So if it's not the same person you think it is, that's why. I don't think my solutions are as applicable now. But my point really is where's my cut? And that, to me, is still very applicable. The affiliate marketing stuff, it is what it is. That's a good question, Simone. That's another good question. I mean, I don't know at this point. I'm answering your question. Would it be possible for a business to make their own cryptocurrency within Otherverse? I think that time will tell. I think that yes, we want that to happen, but I think it will take a lot of R&D and it will take time. You know, we don't know all the laws yet because not all the laws are written. And so we just have to be very conscious that we're not breaking laws, Securities Exchange Commission rules. So, you know, with the hopes of getting there, and I think it will be faster than we think. That, you know, it's not. I don't think it will be 30 years. I think it will be, you know, within the next couple of years, we can proceed closer and closer to that vision and that goal, and accept all cryptocurrency. But at this point, there's a lot up in the air, you know, and I feel like we're beginning to see the precedent set. You know, if you Google OpenSea insider trading lawsuit, a guy who worked at OpenSea was buying NFTs off the front that he knew were going to go to the front page before, and now he's facing 60 years in federal prison. So, you know, we always want to stay on the right side of the law and not be the ones who people make us be the precedent. You know, that's all being worked. Starla, how will the current cryptocurrency and impact by crypto market conditions or cash out, you know, whichever currency you're using, be crypto or national currency? That's a hard one. You know, we're still in development, and you know, I'm not necessarily responsible 100% for the crypto. Yes, it's in my face every day because, you know, I'm working on the NFT and the asset management side of things. We just have to be so careful about rules and regulations, you know, specifically United States, because they're the big boys in this game, you know. And so outside of the US, I think it's going to be a lot, and depending on what country you're in, it's going to be a lot more lenient. You know, I think United States is kind of losing this battle at this point. They're very far behind, but they're also very influential. So we really just have to make sure we're doing it right, make sure we dot our I's and cross our T's. Yeah, no problem, Starla, at all. Scott LaRock, I think people need to know the difference between a token and a coin. I agree, and there's a lot of it's hard because, you know, a coin is essentially it's not well defined in the market, I guess I should say. What I would say is a coin is a fungible token. But a lot of these technology, like a fungible token, a non-fungible token, and a semi-fungible token, they all operate under the same, they're literally just transactions in a public ledger. But what I would consider a coin per se versus a token is a currency. But that word is just thrown around so much. It actually is a coin. So, you know, I think as we move forward, these things will be better defined, and as hype dies and real reality sets in. I think we're living in a time of hype right now, and so utility and reality don't necessarily exist in the market as well as I believe they should. But you know, I mean, I have my opinion on what the difference between a token and a coin is, but the reality is that coin is a hype and keyword that needs to be defined by the market, not necessarily an individual. Where tokens, you know, semi-fungible tokens, NFTs, non-fungible tokens. They are all tokens. So that is a very well-defined word versus a coin. You know, what is a coin? It's a hard one. I hope that answers your question. I'm sorry I don't have a more definitive question. Or answer. You know, we're living in the world of hype and and keywords right now. Metaverse, cryptocurrency, token, you know, like this is all, people are hype right now. But I think, you know, and specifically with the market being down right now, it's washing the market of a lot of bullshit, which I feel is great in a lot of ways. Yes, it sucks in a lot of ways, but at the same time, Katrin, I hope I said your name right. This could take a long time to define and bring acceptance. Absolutely, but a long time to you and I is a lifetime. A long time to history is thousands of years. So it's all subjective, right? Like, I think 20 years, 30 years, this will all be defined. To me in my lifetime, that's a lot, but to history, that is next to nothing. You know, the way I think about this is 1804, Plymouth was the first company to ever manufacture a car. And now we're, 118 years later, and cars have not evolved very much. Bitcoin, cryptocurrency has a $2 trillion market cap. They have 1% of the world's money in 12 years. That is evolving a lot faster than the vehicle. So, you know, this is the very beginning, and we get to be a part of the beginning and the transition. Some people I really trust and love have said that, you know, 1% of the world's monetary value, we have a $2 trillion monetary value worldwide, 200 trillion, and crypto is about 2 trillion. They believe that will flip-flop in the next 20 years. And to me, that is not a long time. That is extremely fast. So yes, for our lifetimes, I think that this is going to take time, and there will be a lot of debate. There will be a lot of transition. There will be a lot of standards being set. There will be a lot of precedent being set. We have to, you know, have a lot of governments buy in and actually set what the rules and regulations are. But at the end of the day, you know, I always go with what a 9-year-old thinks over what I think. You know, talk to a 9-year-old about this, and they get it, especially from a gaming and asset man. Like Minecraft is such a good job at what asset management and ownership actually means. Yeah, and if anyone has like follow-up questions in the future, feel free to reach out to Kendrick. We talk all the time, so I'd be happy to follow up with anyone if you have questions or even comments. You know, I just can't stress enough that this is the beginning, right? And it takes a village. It's not one person's going to answer what crypto, what blockchain is for humanity. It takes everybody's involvement, and you know, it's for us, and so we get to be the ones who decide what it is, how it works, and all of that. Do I think the degree of decentralization will slow progress of humanity or progress of others? I mean, better late than never, in my opinion. I mean, everything should be decentralized, in my opinion. You know, this is very much what I think, not necessarily what everyone thinks. But yeah, I mean, I think I think time is overdue for decentralization and democratization. I think I've had enough of Facebook and Google and these people that are out of control with with uh, with ownership and just the way they monetization. Hard to get everybody on the same page, but it's interesting. Standardization of technology really helps. If I mint an NFT on XYZ website minting, it then goes to OpenSea, it then goes to nftrade.com, it then goes to anyone where I wrote a standard. So as long as we're standardizing, it becomes a lot clearer, it becomes a lot safer, it becomes a lot more secure. All these things begin to actually become a reality. And so I don't necessarily think that it's a setback as much as it is standardization. And yes, with acceptance and laws, I think it's going to be easier for them to accept this and make it law because of standardization. And get everybody on the same page. I think it makes it a lot easier for us all, as opposed to just like what Facebook says goes, what Google says goes. And I think they've been careless. I think government's been very careless as well. There's a great book, if anybody wants to read it. It's called The Age of Surveillance Capitalism by Shoshana Yusof. And it talks a lot of shit about the Obama administration. And it happened to be in 2019, Obama's #1 recommended book. Because he realized, and I hope, and Social Dilemma, you see a lot of the people who created Where We're Living, they all say that they made mistakes. And so, I hope we can own up to our mistakes as society and begin to move into the democracy and decentralization. So yeah. Like I said, if anyone has any other follow-up questions, feel free to send them to Kendrick and he'll get them to me. And yeah, thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you all. Yeah, and that's a great question. I think Kendrick will be.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have to break it. Next
I think Kendrick
speaker
and
is
we had
starting.
quite a
I've
few
got to
talks on
break.
how to
I need to do the break.
to engage the community with this and what's the best ways, and we're all ears. I think classes in the Utherversity is a really good idea. I think more and more we're going to be moving into this concept.
No. Yeah. Alright, so let me do this real quick. I need to break and then get ready for the next stream. So let me do this real quick. I'm, gonna expect that to run over. Alright, so here's our ending. Alright, hello ladies and gentlemen, Seth on another question, Junior. Thank you for watching my stream. Please click on the follow button. Please also hit the little bell notification and to come follow me. But I do want to point out those little links there. Please go to those links if you want to get more info. And please come to my Patreon page and support me if you enjoy my work and all. Thank you. Bye. Alright, like I said, give me a couple of minutes to switch over. And we're going to the next one. So give me a couple of minutes to break and reset. Be right back. Yeah, so YouTube Live, Twitch, come on, connect. I'm already a minute or two late already. Alright, so let's do our intro. Yep, there it goes, it's just gone live. So, do our intro real quick. Alright, if you like what I'm doing, please come support me. Yeah, I didn't expect that to be running so far. Yeah, let me do this real quick. Yeah, thumbnail created. Okay. She not talking? No. Not sure. Oh, I hope it didn't combine the videos. Yeah, not to add it. No. Damn it, I ain't gonna touch that. Alright, it doesn't look like Jane is going to be speaking in this one. I'm going to go ahead and break the stream. This, that, and all, because I promised, two people that I was going to get Brian's video. This, that, and all, but thanks to, Charles and Mike, yeah, it seemed to, combine their stream with the, Jane's stream. So I need to break the stream to fix the video. Did that and all. So I'm gonna go ahead and break it. Did that and all. So here's our ending. Did that and all. Cause I need to fix this video. My video's getting messed up. So here's our ending. Alright, hello ladies and gentlemen, South on another question Junior. Thank you for watching my stream. Please click on the follow button. Please also hit the little bell notification and to come follow me. But I do want to point out those little links there. Please go to those links if you want to get more info. And please come to my Patreon page and support me if you enjoy my work and all. Thank you. Bye. Alright, like I said, I need to end the stream and fix my videos because YouTube didn't like that. It's combined both videos. So I gotta be back.